Hi everyone, welcome to our study notes. I'm Amelia and today I'm going to be talking about trying to find motivation, and this can be for exams or for life in general. If you have a project coming up and you just need that little extra boost to try and complete it and get it finished. The first thing is to define what motivation really is, because to be able to find it, you sort of have to know what it is. I'm sure most of us could agree that it's the stimulation to get something completed or something done. I recently read this book called The Alchemist, and it had a really cool idea or concept about what not having motivation is. So I thought I'd read it out today. I've got my book here. It's a really good book, Paulo Coelho. I really recommend reading this. I've even tagged all the little quotes that I like from it. So this quote's from page 134. Blip, 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 blip. People are afraid to pursue their most important dreams because they feel that they don't deserve them or that they'll be unable to achieve them. My heart is afraid that it will have to suffer, the boy told the alchemist one night, as they looked up at the moonless sky. Tell your heart that the fear of suffering is worse than the suffering itself, and that no heart has ever suffered when it goes in search of its dreams. So that's page 134, The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho. Definitely recommend reading that if you're in lockdown at the moment as well. I think it's got some very important messages that we could all learn something from. So yeah, have a look. And back to finding motivation. It's so much easier to find motivation for a subject that you love than something that you don't really like. And I think this just comes down to the idea that you know you're going to get something out of it for a subject that you love, and you know that it's going to help you because you do love that subject. Whereas for a subject that you don't really like, you sort of question what you're actually going to be getting out of it. So the key here is to transfer the motivation from a goal that you do want to achieve for a subject that you do like to something that you don't particularly like. And you can do this by convincing yourself that by achieving this thing that you don't really like, it's going to help you in the long term to achieve the thing that you do want, if that makes sense. An example of this, to explain it better, would probably be exams, because nobody really wants to sit exams, but you really do need to find the motivation if you do want to do well in them. So you know that by working hard, you'll be able to achieve those goals that you really do want in the future. I think that can also translate into your study habits as well. You just have to keep that goal in your mind and keep telling yourself that by doing this, this is going to help me. And it can initially be quite hard to get into that mindset. So it does take a lot of work and practice and developing yourself as well. And I think this really links to a good work ethic, because a good work ethic comes from having the motivation. And when you do look at people who have good work ethics, they probably have a goal that they're working towards, and they have their mindset on that goal, and they know that by doing the hard things in life that no one really wants to do, they are going to be able to achieve those goals. And with studying especially, it's very important to be consistent so that you can keep your study habits long term. And even if you're not studying as an adult, those habits that you form when you are younger are going to help you later in life when you do have projects that you don't really want to do for work or something like that, because you would have been through the same thing at school with writing essays or doing projects that you really don't want to do. So it's good to get the practice now while you can, because a lot of jobs will probably put you through something that you don't want to do. It's the same thing with school though. And linking back to the quote that I said before from The Alchemist, it's all about finding that one goal in your life that you set your mind on and that you do work towards. Because when you have a goal, the motivation just comes so much more easily to you. So I think that's really the key to finding motivation. It's just having that one goal that you have your eyes on. You can have multiple goals as well. Just whatever you want to get out of life is really what you need to find the motivation, I guess. If you're scared of failing something, which a lot of people are, and that's what puts them off being able to achieve a lot of their dreams, then you're not going to have the motivation to do it. Whereas if you just trust the entire process and you believe in yourself and you know that you'll put every ounce of energy into achieving that goal, then you are going to be able to find the motivation that you need, I think. Because the reality is that the fear of suffering is worse than the fear itself. That's from the quote I said before. And I think this is such a true thing, because by worrying about something, you are putting yourself through that pain or anxiety twice as many times as you could or could not go through that thing, because there's a possibility that you don't even go through that suffering. So there's really no point worrying about it, even though we all do worry about stuff. So it's hard to tell yourself to just suddenly stop worrying about everything, because it takes time. It does take a lot of time to get rid of that voice in your brain that questions if your goals are worth it or if you do deserve those goals. You just have to be positive, and I do say this a lot. It's just to stay positive and optimistic and try not to get the negative thoughts get to your head. It's a ubiquitous human trait to worry, but in the long run it's not doing anyone any good if you are worrying about unnecessary things that are just going to put you off your goals. Of course, it is important to worry about some things, like if you're going to get hit by a car if you cross the road. But there's other things that you don't really have to worry about as much. So it's just important to find the balance of the things you should worry about and the things that you shouldn't worry about. And like Paulo said in his book, no heart is ever suffered when it's gone in search of its dreams. So when you do find that goal, you are never going to truly suffer when you go and search for it. And I think that's such an important idea, because that's the motivation behind it. You have to know and you have to trust. Trust is so important. You have to trust yourself that you're going to be able to go through that. You just need to know that you are going to get something out of that thing that you do. If doing something is going to help you achieve that one goal in your life, then you should put every ounce of energy and strength into achieving that thing, so it will help you achieve that goal later on. And if it's not going to help you, then simply don't do it if you have the choice. Of course, in the cases where you don't have a choice, remember that everything, and I mean everything, that you do is always going to be a learning experience. So really, there is nothing that you shouldn't not have the motivation to do. I hope I got the negatives right in that, and it's everything's a learning experience and everything is an opportunity to grow and just develop your perspective of the world as well. And of course, it's completely okay not to have any motivation at times. I think we're all going to have those moments where you just think to yourself and you think about your goal and you just tell yourself that it's not worth it, or that you don't deserve it, or it's pointless to go and search for it. And those moments are going to happen to everyone. So you just have to accept it and then get right back on track to achieving that goal. The most important thing is to keep that one goal in your mind at all times, or as often as you can whenever you're doing something. So you just tell yourself that this is going to help me and I'm doing this because it's allowing me to learn, and that sort of thing. And that goal that you have can be anything in the world. It can be what you want to do when you're older. It can be the type of person you want to be. It can be finding inner peace. It can be being truly happy. It can be to do what you love every single day. The goal can be anything. You just have to set your mind on the path to wanting to achieve this goal. And I think you'll definitely see a difference in your attitude towards life once you do find that goal. And don't feel pressure to find that goal right now either, because it might take you your entire life to realize what that thing that you want is, or you might have already found it. It's going to be different for everyone. You just have to trust that if you don't have it already, you are going to find it at some point in the future. So keep doing what you're doing, and be motivated. Just make sure to ask yourself if doing this is going to help you or anybody else. And if the answer is yes, then that's all the motivation you really need to do something. And that's sort of just the key to motivation. And the key is going to be different for everyone because we all have different goals and an idea of how we are going to achieve them. But at the end, we all do share one thing in common, and that is that we have the opportunity to have a goal and to pursue it and work towards it. So yeah, I hope that sort of answered the question of trying to find motivation. It's sort of more a abstract way of thinking about it. I know there are like physical things you can do to find motivation, but I think it's really important to get into the mental process as well when doing this sort of thing, because your mind is where that motivation is going to stem from. So I guess it's just really important to be in tune with what's going on in your head. And if that didn't answer your question of what motivation is, I'm sorry. I'm not the wisest person in the world. I'm only 16, and I don't think there truly is a perfect answer to the question of how do you find motivation, because it's obviously going to change based on the person who's going to be answering it. So I've got my way of saying it, whereas someone else might say something different. So keep that in mind as well. This is just what's worked for me, and I do hope that helped as well. And remember that wherever you are in the world, whatever the time of day that it is, please stay safe, and most importantly, be kind, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye for now. Oh no, don't go on my shot. Okay, bye.